this video, I'd like to talk about the other in Wonder Woman, how the movie presents otherness, and how the characters in the movie respond to otherness. The other is someone who is different, who is strange, who is outside our own circle, our own community. This is a theme that is handled in the way this movie always handles themes, not through dialogue, not through speeches, not conceptually, but through the actions, reactions, and personal journeys of its characters. We see, feel, experience the arrival of the other, how each character responds to the other, and which responses are valued and encouraged. Let's start with Diana. Diana is an other on Themyscira. She is an only child and the only child on the island. As her mother Hippolyta says, "You are not an Amazon like the rest of us." Diana is a god with a destiny she is not aware of at the beginning of the movie, but which is revealed to her and which she discovers over the course of the movie. She learns how other she herself really is, not only other than the Amazons who raised her, but even more, other in the world of man. Diana seeks out, embraces otherness. In fact, her reason for leaving her home is to protect those others, who she does not even know. I cannot stand by while innocent lives are lost. The fact that they are the lives of men does not matter. They are worth protecting. This is her natural response to otherness. She embraces it, includes those others in her sphere of concern. Inclusion is her response to otherness. The opposite response is exclusion, the most extreme version of which is murder and death. Ludendorff's response to otherness is to exterminate it. The one person in the movie that is saved from Ludendorff is Dr. Poison. Death is also her response to otherness. Yet, there is an important difference between the two characters. Diana slays Ludendorff. He is other, but beyond the pale. He is another who needs to be excluded, needs to die, deserves death. Diana, however, preserves Dr. Poison despite her crimes. This is because Dr. Poison is capable of human feeling, of attachment to others. We see this in the ballroom scene, where Steve's insight into who she is, into her motivation and dark heart, brings her to the verge of being seduced by him. She feels the attraction to him, the ember of a long-buried need for connection with other people, which brightens in her heart. We saw her response earlier, when Ludendorff stroked her cheek and expressed his faith in her. So Diana preserves Dr. Poison, includes her in those who continue living. Steve is also other, an American spy in the British Army. And as a spy, he is above average, with a certain amount of vigor that sets him apart from other men. He finds himself on Themyscira surrounded by otherness upon otherness, a society of women, all warriors, a society of women rulers, with very different customs, behaviors, and values. But from the very beginning, he is inclusive of these strange women. Waterlogged on the beach and still catching his breath from near drowning, he asks Diana, "Where are we?" Not, "Where am I?" or "Who are you?" but "Where are we?" Diana includes him as well, right after the beach battle ends. "No, mother, he fought by my side against the invaders." On multiple occasions, Diana and Steve are confronted with the otherness of the other. Diana understands the Amazons and herself to be the bridge to a greater understanding between all mankind. Steve, on the other hand, has no idea who these Amazons are. He asks, "Who are you people? How come the water does that? How come you don't know what a watch is? How come you speak English so well?" Steve's understanding of the war is that it's caused by Germans, the enemy. Diana understands it as the work of Ares. For Steve, the war will end when he gets his military intelligence back to the men in charge. For Diana, the war will end when she slays Ares with her sword. Note that they do not argue with each other about their respective understandings. They do not challenge each other. They remain confident in their own perspectives, but implicitly agree to disagree, either by word, for example, Diana says, "You'll see," about ending the war by killing Ares, and Steve responds, "Okay," or they agree to disagree by expression. Diana's look of serene certainty in the infirmary when Steve's face shows complete befuddlement. These disagreements and conflicting understandings do not drive them apart, but each lets the other be who he or she is. There's one version of the scene on the boat where Steve proclaims in disbelief to Diana, "You actually believe all that, don't you?" But that scene was not used in the final version of the movie. I believe because it would clash with an essential theme of the movie and undermine the delivery of that theme. Patty Jenkins not only presents us with contrasting responses to otherness, but puts the audience in a position to feel and understand the perspectives of both people who are other to each other. This is exemplified in the boat scene. Steve asks, "Haven't you ever met a man before? What about your father?" Diana replies, "I had no father. My mother sculpted me from clay, and Zeus brought me to life." Steve, after a pause, replies, "Well, that's neat." The laughter this moment induces arises because in that moment the audience is in both Diana's world, accepting her truth, which we've just spent the first 20 minutes of the movie in, and in Steve's world as well, the world we live in outside the movie theater. This double vision is a wonderful accomplishment by Jenkins and positions the audience to vicariously participate in the emerging conflict between Diana and Steve and to root for them to bridge their differences. The love scene between Diana and Steve the evening after Veld is liberated is so powerful, in large part because in this scene, the inevitable otherness of the other, the ineluctable distance between one person and another, the chasms of gender, culture, power, mortality, and values are overcome, and each includes the other in themselves. At this moment, they are just two lonely people, far from home, with no permanent, meaningful, deep connections to anyone else. Yet they find that meaningful, deep connection and embrace it. As they are dancing, Diana asks him, "Is this what people do when there are no wars?" Steve, "This and other things." Diana, "What things?" Steve, "They get married, make some babies, and grow old together, I guess." Diana, "What's it like?" Steve, "I have no idea." Their final words before we cut to the hotel bedroom, and Diana wordlessly beckons Steve to stay with her, and they kiss. The otherness between Diana and Steve is not completely overcome in that moment, however. Their realities clash, for after all there can be only one real truth. Either Ares exists and is a driving force behind the war, or he doesn't and isn't. These conflicting understandings of the world and of their own respective roles in that world cannot be resolved in one night's lovemaking. Steve, until nearly the very end of the movie, does not believe in Ares. He challenges Diana in the ballroom scene. Quote, "What if you're wrong? What if there is no Ares?" And doubt flickers across Diana's face, but is she doubting herself or doubting how much she can count on Steve in the fight against Ares? Steve continues, "I can't let you do this." Then Diana decisively regains her footing. "What I do isn't up to you," she says, and pushes him away. The power of the remainder of the movie, the third act, the shelling of Veld and the murder of its inhabitants, only the day before is saved by Diana. Diana's fierce anger at Steve and determination to get rid of Ares once and for all. How killing Ludendorff shakes her convictions, her subsequent refusal to continue helping Steve, who begs for her help despite the fact that his skepticism about Ares is validated. Then the appearance of the true Ares, first to Diana and then to Steve. All of this culminates in the realization by both Diana and Steve that reality is more complicated more nuanced than either initially believed. Then, tragically, just as their minds come into alignment in a shared understanding of the world, and their hearts reach out to each other, just at the moment that their otherness to each other is transcended, they lose each other. For the sake of a greater good, Steve sacrifices himself, and in that moment of grief, Diana becomes who she really is, her powers on full display, and she destroys Ares. The world of man responds to otherness with exclusion. The madman on the docks is chained up, ready to be hauled off to the insane asylum. Diana, and indeed all women, are excluded from rooms and decision-making. Even women themselves exclude each other when they are other. Etta responds to Diana's complaint that the collar on a dress she is trying on is choking her by saying, "I don't blame it," in effect, wishing she could choke Diana. Men's hearts have been poisoned with jealousy and suspicion. Men create otherness, exclude others, and enslave and kill them. Diana comes to the world of men to offer an alternative response to otherness, love. That is, acceptance and inclusion into one's own life, in one's own community, in one's own heart. Note how rarely Diana kills. A soldier on the beach, Ludendorff and Ares certainly, the sniper in the bell tower probably, but mostly she interrupts her opponent, knocks him down, destroys his weapons, puts him out of action without killing. Nearly every scene in the movie presents its characters with otherness, and we see either a response of exclusion or a response of inclusion. One small example. The morning after the liberation of Veld, Charlie expresses his doubts about his value to the team and suggests they go on without him. But Diana turns to him and says, "Charlie, who would sing for us?" Charlie's delight at being invited into the team and included is so great that he right there bursts into song. Diana's triumph challenges us. Exclude the others or include them. Kill them out of hate and fear, or embrace them from love and acceptance. I believe this alternative response to otherness, a response of inclusion, not exclusion, is one of the reasons why so many people have been inspired by the movie to become good men and to do good in the world. Thank you. I welcome your comments below.